Okay, we're live, the 28th edition of the Data Value Show. Today's edition is called The Value of a Competitive Advantage. And I've got a great guest today that's going to be talking to us about that. Hi, Yuri, how you doing?
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
I'm very well. So just for the audience, me and Yuri met last week at Data Day Texas. The coolest conference, well, nearly the coolest conference apart from SCID, which happens in March, but one of the coolest conferences I've been to for a while. Great crowd, and really enjoyed our discussions and your questions in the talks. I thought it'd be useful to share some of these discussions with a wider audience. So, do you want to give yourself a bit of an intro?
Yeah, for sure. So my intro is that first I met Chris. He got 5 beers on the table next to him, and that's the reasons that he shared that Data Day is the coolest conference in the world. That's for sure.
They weren't all my beers, I'm being honest. Okay, there was some from other people. They just were next to me. Yeah, honest.
So rather than just having beers and casual data geek stocks, I live out of New York, born up in Israel. My background is in math. I did a lot of data and AI, and mostly in the Israeli intelligence forces. I was leading some tropes over there. You can imagine quite a lot of data that people crunching to make the people of Israel safe. So in a very young age, I was leading a group of talented engineers in data science. I left the army. I enjoying saying that I did my first mistake because I was joining for cyber startup, but we were scanning the internet and find vulnerabilities in websites. And then I did my second mistake. I started my first cyber startup, which turned up to be like a very nice one because after 18 months we sold the company. And about 3 years ago, we decided to start a new venture. We call it NIMBLE. And basically what we're doing, we're trying to help data teams to access data from the biggest database in the world and get it with easily. Probably going to discuss it later today, but I think we're trying to take the public web, the public knowledge, and connect it with business users. And today it's a long journey since people need to work and work extremely hard. And we can say that's everything but nimble. So that's why we're here.
Yeah, it's a very good name for the company. It was quite easy to create some puns when talking about what you guys do. And I think we start on competitive advantage, and then we can focus on how you tackle that and how you solve that for your clients. But competitive advantage is very hard to ascertain or put a financial monetary number onto. And I've been doing some research on is data an asset, and why is it not actually on the books of companies, and historically financial reasons for it. But there is a thing called goodwill for your when you sell your company, and that is can go on your book. And that goodwill, it could be down to the ability for your company to have that competitive advantage. That could be your time to market for new product, or it could be your special sauce, your insight you get from combining data that allows you to make decisions better than all your competitors. And the conversation, I think, when Sol was talking and you were talking about price data being used for decisioning of pricing engines. So I think that's probably one of the examples that you're solving now there. But maybe talk about that use case of how using using pricing data from alternative sources can help your business.
That's a great question. And if I will start with the beginning of your question, so how we take data and make it an asset. And maybe it's the same questions that's a lot of time we as data team asking ourselves, how we can communicate the value of the work that we're doing to organization. It's a question that quite a lot of data team were asking themselves in 2023, whenever it's like a layoff has been around, and we needed to communicate to the business leader, hey, data is an asset, and you without data are gonna be in a big problem. And maybe to answer that specific question, maybe we should go a bit further back. So I think about 20 years ago, we understand that the technologies that we have not allowing us to do amazing stuff with data. So I don't know, around 2006 and 07, like Hadoop became standard. So big data started being out, and we started seeing some data as an asset. People starting using data. 12, 13, Apache Sparks just growing, a lot of popularity. All of us, I think, like Apache is still in Spark is amazing, even though like people just try to do some icebergs today and cool stuff, but just take it aside. 2018, Snowflake became the new standard. So we got modern data stack, which is impressive and can allow us to create like great data pipelines, and data teams allowed to deliver business value, not just creating amazing pipelines. So by the end of the day, data is an asset if you know how to use the data within the business concept. So back in the day, we didn't have the tools. So engineers and data teams need to work extremely hard. Today, I know that we're doing quite good, because I just heard people just started talking how we can replace SQL with GPT. So it means that the modern data stacks made like a great way over the past years, and today data teams delivering value and business value every day. And not only is it we allowed to ship more data and it's more accurate, but it's also we can improve the credibility. So back in the day, we got a lot of credibility issues if people can trust the data. So we got a lot of things that we have done with Mesh, with Nyaj, a lot of other stuff that we're doing. And I think that right now we're seeing more data team getting more budget. It means that organizations start to recognize data teams even better. And I think all of that allow us to understand that today we're doing great, and the modern data stack doing great. It's still hard, and it's still a lot of potential that it's we need to deliver. But all of that working with the first-party data. And
I think some things you mentioned there, just to go back to, is that it's what Snowflake provided, and I think there's been other things that have come. Well, each of those things you described actually, and then each one iterating and becoming the latest modern data stacks, which is always evolving. But it's the ability, the time. Actually, the speed of the time it takes us to make failures, which means that we're quicker to actually making successes. And go back to that competitive advantage, but if you didn't have a modern data stack before, you didn't have a competitive advantage on your competitors. Okay, now that's becoming the norm. Everyone has some sort of capability for the data. Now it becomes, okay, now how quickly can I connect the use cases to a business objective and deliver against that and evidence what's been achieved. And I think every iteration of
standard again.
So again, sorry.
And soon that going to become a standard again. We're seeing a lot of companies,
Exactly.
DBD releasing semantics, and we're seeing a lot of like data catalog by like data.word and a lot of other cool initiatives. Just people helping us quite a lot right now to deliver and understanding the data and the context and solve some problems. And we predict, and I think we're seeing it, that over the next few years, that's going to become a standard again.
And I think another thing that I've seen, and I suppose frustration of any data scientist out there that may have a hypothesis of how they can increase the performance of what the algorithm decision coming out of it, and their challenge up until now is being, well, one, getting that good quality data, two, having to probably go and source it themselves or script it or do things and skills that probably aren't necessarily their core strengths. To where that unicorn of a resource that can just do everything, that they don't exist. But if you can get much better throughput from your data scientist by allowing them to prove the hypotheses by getting data from. It's a bit of a plug for yourself here, but what you showed me the other day, and I saw it. What that can achieve. So it's that another layer of simplification that's allowing your customers to accelerate that.
Yeah. So maybe a few examples. So you need to know the market price to know if your prices is competitive or not. Or you need to know your competitive shipping information to see if you pricing your shipment too high if you're a marketplace. Or just like, let's go for the basic. One of the reports that you have generated that shows that you got increasing sales in 50% in a specific segment or region. But if you don't combine it with what the industry with similar companies such yourself are performing, maybe this data is not relevant. That's like just one example. We can take like another example. SERP monitoring. It means it's like we're doing some search in Google. Maybe in the future we'll do some in other cool things that's GPT allow us. But you can take the internal website traffic and sales report, and you can see if you got increased or decreased by the amount of volume that you got. Just by searching your company or your product, you can see new competitor that are coming from SEO and SEM. We're building pipeline for marketing team, just like scan all the SKUs or all the products that are selling. So this can be within like specific marketplace or a search engine. And by having this data, all the data which is right now outside of the company, it's not the CRM or the ERP system of the company. The data which is publicly available, if you will search one query on Google, you will get it. But you want to have 4 million queries per day. How can you achieve it? I remember that you have asked me how you take data and make it force multiplier with this approach.
Yep.
And I think we can take a few examples. Let's take marketing. So companies that's spending, let's say, $1 million per month in marketing, which is quite a lot. But it's not that rare whenever we're talking about e-commerce platform or whenever like SaaS company. If we as data teams can optimize this spend in 3 or 4%, we're probably going to be the winners, right? We're probably going to be the winners. So a few examples that we have done in the past and we saw, direct to consumer brand. So they're selling the product and they know they got like one big competitor in the market. And they're selling furnitures. But for that specific furniture, they were tracking all the time the competitors. And they thought that one day the competitors is out of stock. And that specific point of time, they know that they can stop the marketing campaign, save expensive marketing dollars, because all the market gonna go towards them. Not only is it we're spending the marketing, like it was like for 2 weeks for that specific brand, which was like $40K, just like the PPC spends that we were sending, they were increasing the price of the product. By the way, it's a great example of how we're creating value for companies. For me, it's not something that I'm proud of because the reasons that we started the company, like to be honest, the reason it's not something that I'm proud of, because I do believe whenever we're taking all the prices of the product, that everybody can have the prices of the product. It means that, as Adam Smith says, and I'm a great believer in open market, it means that the market will price the product better. Yep. If we got just duopoly, 2 companies that's selling the same product, we're seeing some problems in the market. But just like, and one simple example, we have like another completely different example in real estate.
So going back to that other example. So for that, so you've saved them on their marketing spend, but also now you've saved them on applying any price reduction as well, because there's no point marketing it. It's you're going to get the captive market, but also no point discounting it less than someone else has out of stock because they're going to pay the price that you set it to now. So you've probably saved 2 departments with one use case. Some budget. That's good. Yep.
Exactly. And one of the things that's where it just like whenever you're combining your first party data, and companies today got the ERP system is well connected and everybody's seeing the market share and the share of search of their product. But whenever you combine it with what's going on outside, you just open the eyes for everyone, for the data teams, for the business leader, for the data science that's need to create a better model or better prediction. It just opened the doors for everyone. Just stick with the same company. So we're monitoring SEO and SEM within the biggest marketplaces, Amazon, Walmart, Google Shops, for specific keywords. We're tracking the inventory. We're tracking the best sellers. We're tracking the reviews that people just like sharing out there. Fully integrate with Cohere. I find Cohere is like the best like sentiment analysis out there. If you want, you can connect it with OpenAI and like the LLM of your choice.
So again, trigger another thought there. So by using a sentiment analysis, you could also then go and actually remove the particular price for that vendor that's selling it from your pricing algorithm, because it doesn't matter if you don't need to beat them on price, because you can beat them on service.
Exactly. If you know that customers loved your product, just like the amount of stars that's sharing or like the reviews, it means it's product love you. But sometimes on the flip side, one of our customers just released a new product and they got like a very bad reviews of that product. And they got it in real time. They decided to recall the product, just to reshape the formula of the product itself.
Yeah.
So a lot of time, whenever you're seeing how's the market reacting to your product, whenever you're seeing what your competitors are doing, whenever you're seeing what's happened in the real world, the data that we have right now, it's way more valuable. If you're just returning back how you gain competitive advantage, in the words that everybody got more than data stack, in the words that everybody is using the same snowflake, it's not, nobody cares if you are a Fortune 500 company or a startup that just started, you have the same snowflake infrastructure, which is great. So right now, a lot of companies know how to act and work with the data. But whenever you got the competitive data, the external data, then you have the full picture.
And another chain of thought on this one is I think I've talked in this past, I call it a challenger scenario. So we've had challenger banks. It was a term used in the UK when the first digital banks came out. I'm sure it was used globally as well. But they got to a stage where, when they became the first digital banks, they had to build a lot of this stuff themselves. They're probably slower on their innovation now because they've grown in the size of the organization and maybe not built on top of the best solutions at that point. And I think we're in this next iteration of that, where we've got the scenarios where you've got challenger. So the first one's in. Now there's newer people, newer players that using the latest, greatest, a more a product approach internally of how they treat data. They can now get that competitive advantage to beat their main competitors, because they can move quicker or they can price quicker, because they haven't got the bureaucracy that's been built up. So it's interesting.
Like the happy boy inside me, whenever you say beat a competitor, I thought a bit of an uncomfortable. I don't want to beat any of the competitor. I think there's like huge market opportunity for everyone, but it's gain more efficiency, create more enterprise value, and basically help all the business leaders that are working with them every day to have better decisions. Because I do believe that we as data people, we're not here to create fascinating technology. I'm coming from technology. For me, seeing like a very effective SQL that's effective in terms of compute and running very fast, which I can be amazed from that. That's cool. Or very nice AI models. That's cool. But all the technologies that we're creating, it's here to solve a business value.
Yep.
And whenever we're working just with the first party data, so it's not really care if we're like a real estate company or a travel company or a fintech company or a hedge fund. Our options are limited, and we are here to empower the business and accelerate the business. And the things that have like external data, it's allow us to have the competitive advantage. As you just said, it's like the challengers of challenger.
Yeah. And there's a question I preempted coming in, and something I was going to talk about is that's what the bad data, or I think data espionage, maybe we can call it, of when people sub out. So there's I actually know this is Ramona. I'm actually checking on my phone as well to people because I can sometimes you don't get to see who they are on here. But yeah, gaming the system, and we touched on this the other day when we were discussing this. Is when people understand what you're doing, how quickly can they manipulate it to create false demand in this example?
Oh, that's whenever you create technology, you can do a lot of stuff with that technology, and that's our job to make sure that people are going to use our technology in a responsible way. So the ways it's companies and people interacting with the platform. So we do allow by self-serve some limitation that you can work with the API with very strict use cases. So e-commerce data, we got like an API for e-commerce data. You can just hit the API whenever PDP or search page in e-commerce, you got structured HTML, structured JSON and not HTML. It's something that you can analyze and create some cool analytics on top of it. We do have some SERP options. We do have like other like real estate and specific APIs that you can get data from. And on top of that, the offering of NIMBLE is enterprise data pipelines. It means that data leaders from Fortune 500 companies and also like leading brands are coming to us. And whenever they are coming to NIMBLE, say, we got an hypothesis. It's if we will have data of all the competitors in specific like CPG or retail, it's like big for us, or another like car industries. We want to know all the car being sold in specific region. It can be like firsthand or from car dealership, or if we will know all the flights and car rental information, and a lot of other niche use cases and leading use cases. And then data architect just loop into the call, helps them to set up the pipeline directly to their like data workflow, and then they're getting the data. So basically no one can manipulate like the data, because what we're doing, we're helping data teams to just answer their business questions with structured data.
So, I mean, yeah, within your platform, yeah, there's there's that lineage and provenance of where it came from, but it's the information out there that maybe a particular vendor that you're one of your competitors, they go and set up another account, another site that is available to get scraped, which they always they're putting the prices lower, or they're saying they got stock when they haven't got stock, or whatever information which is not accurate. Is that something, data espionage, so to speak? Is that something that could happen, and how would you tackle that?
I think maybe we should zoom out a little bit, understanding the challenges of working with dynamic data and working with external data. By the end of the day, we all want to have data we can trust. So 80% of the data in the internet is unstructured. It means that you need to do some work to make it structured. 90% of the data has been generated over the past 2 years. And just like as a side note, 0 from the top 100 websites are using valid HTML. It means that everybody just running their custom version of HTML, and you need to render JavaScript in order to get the data. Why? Because the content is dynamic. Most of the time you need to render JavaScript, which is complex. Traditional crawlers, just like for example, traditional crawlers that back in the day just Google created the first crawler, are not running JavaScript because it's extremely expensive. We all know what's will happen like with just our browser, which is like 5 tabs or 10 tabs. My Safari just want to die, even though I'm using the latest MacBook. So it's a lot of resources, because that's the modern internet. We're getting a rich experience. But if you want to gather the data at scale, it's hard. So what are the options to get the data? And then we'll get like the data espionage or data things. So the options to get the data, as for 2.5 years ago, it means you borrow some technologies that's coming from QA. It's a bit technical, but not that much. So you need the WebDriver in order to get the page, same as Chrome or Safari. So we got Puppeteer, we got Selenium, we got Playwright. I think like almost all of us, we are tech people, so we try to do some web scrapers back in the day. So, and we are familiar with like Python libraries, as Beautiful Soup, that's for standard structuring. So a lot of other stuff that's been out there. But if you want to do that on the public web, it's going to be harder, because when are you going to scan in high scale, let's say Amazon or Walmart, they're probably going to see that you're a bot, and then they're going to see, okay, we're not going to have you the data. Why? Because Amazon want to have their competitive advantage for themselves. But if you're turning back, the reason that we have started this company is to have this technology for everyone, the same as NOBLE done back in the day, because NOBLE giving the same technology for everyone. We were going to have the same technology to have the competitive advantage for everyone. So we have decided that we need to create a new WebDriver. And in the very beginning, I came to my investors and they came and said, "Oh, you're crazy." We always knew that you're crazy, but right now we know you're crazy. Like, Firefox created browser, Safari created browser, like Apple, Google created one, Microsoft teach their one, they're using like a Chromium right away. Brave created one, NIMBLE gonna create one. It's like low-level CPP, and we say that's the only way. If you want to have the data, render JavaScript in scale, make sure the data accuracy going to be good, and you have the valid page, the same as the user going to have by the end of the day, you need to invest a lot in technologies. That's the same thing that we're doing right now. So whenever like a customer just running a request on the NIMBLE browser side, we have a chain of 6 different models that's choosing the right engine of the NIMBLE browser, getting the page. So it depends. If it's like single page application, we're going to use one technology. If it's just like a normal HTML, it's a different technology, will be more cost efficient. And the list is long. Once we're getting the page, we're doing validation at the source, and then we're choosing the best AI model in order to parse the HTML into JSON. And over there is like a lot of edge cases. So we got some embedded content within the page. We got some content in the LD JSON, in the metadata of the page. We got some complex structure in the page. Yada, 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 yada. And then eventually they're getting the data. So all of that, it's our headache. It's a lot of headache. We got like 40 engineers in Israel just like doing that all day long, and we're still working hard in order to make it work perfectly.
So, and these are complexities that people don't find out until they go and try and do it themselves. And you may get success on one, but to have that breadth requires, I think, the approach that you've taken, which sounds like it's been an interesting journey. We got I guess another one. Paul Sargent. He's another some great questions in the past as well. It's a long one. I've only just putting it straight up now to read this one. Demonstrate. So yeah, really trying to get to the question here. So yeah, so I think it's all about how you're combining that data, and I think the example about the force multiplier. So I think there's no one size fits all, and it's working out what decisions is going to be right. What information you need to make the right decisions within your organisation. I think this comes up to something, again, leveraging some of the conversation that happened at Day-to-Day Texas. And I think Jesse Anderson was one who was talking about the evolving roles in the data space. And I think one of the questions I asked was about the role of the product manager in an organization. And I think asking the right questions to the business to actually work out what information could make a difference to either the business process or any accuracy of the decision they're making. So yeah, it's never. I don't think it's always very easy, and it was one of the things we were again came up quite often. There was business value and how you actually evidence it, or how you actually select a use case and where business value fits into that. So yeah. So yeah, nice. Thanks, Paul. Going back, in fact, we've been freestyling for a bit, and I think some of the bullet points that we had up on the original one, I think localization was one of the topics we had on there, and the world's a big place. Yeah, how does that fit into solving problems for clients?
Yeah, I think localization it's like a big thing whenever we are just analyzing how the internet today is being built. So all of the experiences we have is personalized. It's not personalized in the level of Chris and Uri, but it's personalized like who we are, where we coming from, what devices we're browsing, what location are we. We all know it like whenever we want to book a flight or we're going to travel somewhere abroad, which is always exciting. But sometimes with just like downloading a VPN and seeing like the prices across like different locations.
Mm.
Um, so one of the stats that we're just monitoring it, we got like a small thing internally that we're playing. The biggest like price gap for same product across locations.
Well, yeah.
So just like an example, YouTube Premium, the prices in the US is $14, 13.99. In Switzerland, it's a bit more expensive. It's $15, 15.90 cents. In Brazil, it's just like dropping to 4.6 somewhere. But if you want to go very cheap, just like change your VPN to India, and you got $1.57 for just YouTube Premium.
Wow.
So assuming that you are a product manager in Spotify and you want to know the prices in Google and Google Music or like in whatever companies that you want to know it, I think it's better off to have some localization level in your data collection, because in the US it's $14 or Switzerland
Yep.
is only 16 and India is like $1.50. So that
You
can change your
could
value.
be pricing yourself out of the market if you're taking the wrong region and pricing based on that region.
Exactly, and maybe it's like some folks are saying that whenever in YouTube you got like specific content that's for a specific location. So we were tracking also the same physical product. We were tracking like Apple AirPods 2 second generation. So the prices in Germany, which is like the cheapest places in the world right now to buy it, it's like 120 euros. In Italy, it's like climbing up to the bit that the most expensive place in Europe, like 164 euro. And if you want to be solid, just go for France, like 130 euros. So with the same product, exactly same product, same store, same seller, different location, the price is going to be different. Taking one step further, the prices in Amazon sometimes change by how far you from the warehouse.
Ah, okay, makes
Yeah.
sense.
The prices in Walmart on the zip code itself, like for your physical store next to you. So whenever you are starting building data product on top of external data, which quite fast going to be mission critical for your organization, you just don't need just to have like amazing technology in order to collect the data, write the JavaScript, running models to pass the data in real time, so you can validate accuracy and some data validation rules and observability and governance, which all we cover. It's a little headache. But you also need to have a data localization layer, so you can have the data the same ways it's your customers or the same ways that you want to check right now.
It's
Just like
quite,
another example, if you're going the same page 3 times in the same day, sometimes the price is going lower, sometimes the price going higher, and another four things.
yeah. It's interesting how the world and we discussed that. I'm quite a bit older than you, but I remember the days of we had these catalogs, Argus catalogs, which was the equivalent. You go in there with a number and they'd go and get from the warehouse for you. But then the catalogs come out once every 3 months, means you could only ever change your prices every 3 months. I mean, move forward to the web, someone will probably have their job once a month to go and update their pricing. Move forward again. Now maybe daily updates, based on availability, to now real-time pricing. Real-time pricing, but not only using time, but using other influencing factors to actually control what price what price you actually get. So and we call it as staying ahead and having that competitive advantage. And if you don't keep up with the rest of your competitors, you won't be in business much longer. So this is some good tips here. So we got another Paul saying, yeah, so Paul shout out saying it was a good lessons about the locale thing. So, I mean, we've probably touched on this slightly. Is you're collecting this data at the moment because you've got the latest information because it's of interest and it's some great examples. But you provide the ability to people to go and get that. So, is there a place? And maybe it's a loaded question. I think I know. Is there a place for a centralized market for this that people can go subscribe to this data, maybe even try to see the effect it has before they go and maybe create a refined subset or go and harvest that data themselves with maybe some additional attributes? Is that something you're looking to do?
I think always we need to return back to the business questions that we want to answer. So the data leaders are coming to us most of the time whenever they got like an assumption that another like 1 or 2 or 5 pipeline can take their internal data and create a force multiplier to create a competitive advantage. That's the missing part to answer the business questions. So you got a lot of data that we've been working hard to agree on the same metrics, on the context of the first party data. But right now they know what the market is doing, just like which company is having more trends in social media right now, and a lot of other stuff that's people just using our platform to have the data. That's like moving the needle. And the things that we have been analyzing, where are we providing the most value for our customers? It's whenever our customers need data in real time in a very high scale. If you don't need data in real time in a very high scale, so please stay tuned. Later this year, we're going to release like 3 data sets. So everyone just going to have the data with just like creative assumptions, like to do some testing, which is not in real time. It's going to be updated once in a while, the same as like traditional data providers are doing. We're going to have it for free. Why? Because we want you to enjoy it. Mm-hmm. If you need the data in real time in a very high scale, but also customize it for you, you can come to us and we'll be able to help you. So I think the free marketplace is going to be for the common ground, but where we're seeing that the data providing the best value, it's whenever you customize the data for you, or you customize the frequency or the data sources, and then we fine-tune the models of the NIMBLE browser itself, and then you can have the data. You basically can't create database of all, just like create the example of Amazon, just because the variety of the product and the frequency change of the product, it's not making any sense.
Yep.
Just like going to restaurants in the US, 30% of the restaurants have been changed every year. Also, something that if you just collecting all the data, you can see very nice stats. It means that if you create a CRM, you need to refresh it all the time. And the same restaurant right now can be in the GrabHub, it can be in Deliveroo, can be in like Uber Eats, can be like in different platforms, but they're changing all the time. They're changing the name, they're changing the menus. You can create like a database, one flat database, but you can ask some business questions, define the schemas that you need. I want a restaurant. I want to have like prices above like a certain level. I want to have specific locations. I want to have a specific type of food. And then like once a day, once a week, once a month, you can define it. You will have the data directly to your warehouse. If you just want to have a general understanding of restaurant in the US, nothing in particular for a very, very specific business action, go away, enjoy our free data sets that we're going to launch later this year.
So it's again another interesting, and we've seen Snowflake's had marketplace data, and we've seen lots of people selling it, and we've explored it. It's very hard to go and quantify the value that data is going to provide you until you actually try it, and the freshness of it can affect that. So if you're able to, as you provide that data that's they know how up to date it is, and actually use that and look to do some A/B testing or some alternative. Okay, what decisions would have we made if we had that additional data? You can quite then easily evidence. Okay, look, it would have been 10-15% more efficient. What's the cost for that data? Oh, maybe if we had it even more fresh, how more efficient it would be. Well, let's go and try that. So and that. I think this also links back to when you get requirements and people ask stuff, I need it real time, and everyone just goes for the worst, the best they can ask for, and they don't know. There's always a cost associated to that, and I suppose there's two sides to the coin. It's great having competitive advantage, but what's the costing? What is the cost of having that competitive advantage, and the effect that has on your business's performance financially or based on your targets going forward as well. So I saw a little bit of my brain thoughts on that one as well.
I think like just this point, it's incredible, and I will explain. A lot of people asking, what are you doing? They say, cool, I've been created like one day a web scraper for my prep project, and creating like one scraper, it's not a rocket science. It's basically an average time to create a pipeline for a single specific source. It's between 1.5 to 3 days to see it in production, which turned out to be that if you are, let's say, a business leader or data leaders or data science, and you got an assumption, as you have said, is if I will have like that specific like data type, data source will be available for me, I'm going to have the complete picture. So what do you need to do? You need to hire engineers. I hope it's someone not too expensive from your team, because it's going to be tedious work. They need to first study the structure of the website, and then they need to identify the URL that you need to crawl. And then they need to create like a custom script for collecting the data and then building like manual parser to structure the data into JSON and CSV. And then they need to add some monitoring to make sure that everything runs smoothly. Once it's been built, you got the data, you seen it after maybe 3 days, since you got your assumption just for one single source. That engineers also need to modify whenever like the website has changed. They did like an A/B testing on the design, so the CSS selector just broken, or the URL schemas just changed, and they got inaccurate data. It means that the time to value from the assumptions to the data, it's maybe 3 days for a single, very specific, simple source of data. And with NIMBLE, we're able to reduce it to minutes. So you don't even need to worry that much. And if you got an assumption, you can just hit the APIs, have the data, see that, and run forward.
It means the ability to test multiple hypotheses much quicker without the associated cost for failures if you'd gone the other route.
But it sounds like a sales pitch, and let's talk about like cool things. That's and I don't like it, to be honest.
No, it's great.
I'm very much in love in the things that we're doing.
It's very evident from the conversations we'd had. So going back more into the generic sort of kind of, we touched on it a little bit. It's that merging internal and real time data. I suppose more of a business problem. This one is how do companies understand what's the best data for them to merge? And do you think and you're working with multiple companies or different industries, is there a sort of an 80-20 rule where you say, okay, well, this particular industry, these are the sort of things that are going to provide you that competitive advantage, or is it not that specific? Sorry, is it not just attributed to the industry, other things as well?
So it depends on the customers, that's for sure. In the sense of the people who we're working with, we're seeing quite a lot of like the generic use cases within specific segments. As an example, whenever we're going to see Fortune 500 company, an inbound lead for marketing department or sales department, we're probably going to know which type of data they're going to looking for. It's going to be mostly about marketing campaigns versus their competitors, or finding new leads for and have more efficiency. But something that we have saw over the last year, which catch our attention, is that whenever the data teams is reporting to the operation, to the business unit, we're seeing way more advanced and creative use of our platform. whenever the data team working closely with the business users, we're seeing a lot of cool things that people are doing with the data. Just like one example that I've shared with you, but take the same thing with the restaurant CRM. If you're a CPG and you're selling your product out there and you have real-time restaurants and hospitality visibility, you can guide your salesperson and your marketing way better. It's an advanced use case. We're not used to see it quite a lot. But on the flip side, something that we're seeing quite a lot is that business leader coming to us with a very, very banal and specific use case, something that we have saw all the time, and we got like ready-made pipeline for them. Just take an example. They want monitoring all the price of real estate rent in a specific location. We saw a lot of our other companies doing though. Coming to us, real estate brokers, real estate agencies, investment firms. And then after they're delivering the first pipeline, and all of the time they're coming to us to say, you're a NIMBLE, you're probably the experts. Tell us which type of data that we can have as well that can drive our business. And that's something that's, for us, we're very proud of. It means that we make the data consumption enough easy for people to want to have more data. I remember that back in the days, it's my data teams got like a new data source. It was a pain. You don't want to work harder. And I think one of the things that we have analyzed, which is beautiful and excites us very much, that whenever we are providing the external data, whenever we're providing the data which is publicly available and give it in the hands of the data team, especially whenever they're working close to the business unit, we give them a superpower. And that's the Force Multiplier. That's the things that accelerate everything. So travel agencies that's coming for NIMBLE and I just want to say, yeah, like we have 5 or 7 distinct competitors and we want to know the pricing for all of them. Okay, that's nice. But a car dealership company that's coming to us and want to say, we want to monitor the long tail of the internet and see all the car dealership agencies and want to see the prices of the second-hand market and want to see the trends. We want to see what specific car dealership agency got more tractions over Facebook and TikTok and LinkedIn. It means it's again be more popular right now. That's creative use cases that spark our imagination.
So trying to find correlation between historical car prices with advertising, with car sales or current car sales that happen. So an intro. I used to work for a German car manufacturer, and working on their data platform. And a lot of the stuff we used to do there was looking at the parts that have been. This is going back about 20 odd years ago. We're looking at the parts to do. Okay, this particular car coming in, the likelihood of them needing these particular parts for stock analysis. But this is now using all of that external data as well as that to predict more accurately, particular prices of second-hand car market, but also parts needed to support that second-hand car market. Interesting.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And whenever you put this product in the hands of sophisticated hedge funds or private equity folks, they are pushing the limits on the things that they are doing. And eventually, whenever we will succeed in our big mission to create all of the unstructured data points that's out there accessible for everyone, it's going to be way easier to find correlation between things that's happening in the market and end results for the consumer and the end results of other things. So you're seeing what you want to find all the codes, but right now we don't have enough data points that can allow you to explain what's happened. If you're able to have more data points, you can have able to link to specific data points for specific industries. So maybe in one day we'll be in a position that we will know they got bad weather in Colombia, and eventually the prices of like Blue Bottle Cafe in San Diego going to climb higher.
Yeah.
So it's a chain of events that's happening out there. Everything is publicly available. Everything is out there. It's just like putting this data with sophisticated and smart data science that can generate a lot of value for humanity. Therefore, we're creating that company.
Yeah, I'm just thinking there. It's a great opportunity to do a hackathon or something like this. Of just give your data scientist access to some of your internal data and say, okay, look, here you go. Knock yourselves out, have a day, play around, have the business sit with you, with your data scientists. Pair program, and see what they can achieve.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I assume that as Romano again. I suppose it's prices. I assume you're referring to like the shipping costs now, because ships not being able to go around the same location. Yeah, I don't know how that's well. I suppose understanding maybe your stock's going to take an extra 4 weeks to get delivered now because it's had to go around Africa. It might be having to deal with that, but that's a problem on the list to solve still, I suppose. Okay, we'll sort of wrap up maybe, and we'll do a little bit of a summary of some of the topics we covered here today. I suppose the last one, I suppose we talked about a little bit about, I refer to it as data espionage, but just data quality in general. Obviously, internally within an organisation, they need to deal with their own quality issues. But how do you help clients identify maybe some outliers or some quality issues with any data they may have collected? Or is that something that you suggest them putting their own quality rules inside their platform to monitor that?
Yeah, for sure, it's our job to make sure the data going to deliver in a high quality, so you can trust the data. Otherwise, you have to work quite a lot after you're using the NIMBLE platform. We have one word. It's our essence. It's effortless. It should be effortless. If it's not going to be effortless, it means that you don't want to work with that. And one of the things that we have spent quite a lot of time into understanding what is the ground truth of data. So let's have an example. You got the price of a product, but the price got a mistake in the website.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to change it or not? What will be their desired behavior? The prices is changing all the time, so it's harder to find like validation rules on our side.
Yep.
Therefore, like data accuracy in NIMBLE started at the source. Whenever we're seeing the page in the first time, it means that over that first interaction with the page, we know what type of page is it. Is it a product description page? Is it a company information page? Is it a company website? Is it a news article? A lot of different type of websites got a different type of chains from our side. And right after we're analyzing the type of the website, we're starting like to running some validation at the source. And then you can combine, just an example, the price of the metadata in the early JSON and the price on the HTML level. Once you're getting everything stored into like our storage, and then we run anomaly detection, which also is something that's running in-house with something that's coming with related and the context of the website. Since we've seen the website over and over, we can tell it's like something makes sense or not make sense. Way better to just running anomaly detection that's help you to find some outliers.
So the anomalies are provided context to allow the anomaly. The results to be more accurate.
Exactly, it depends on the context.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'll probably will just do a bit of a summary of some things that we covered here today. Is I love the term force multiplier, but I think some great examples of combining some real-time data with your internal data and and identifying multiple benefits from actually combining them. I think that was a great example of not only saving your marketing team, but also maybe optimizing your pricing at the same time. I think the other advice probably is go and get your YouTube subscription from Brazil and just use a VPN.
Yeah, India is better. Yeah.
India. Sorry, India.
I'm sorry for the Google folks for hearing that. That's a lot of like traffic from India just going to come away.
Yeah. And okay, what's this? Andy, what do you? Oh yeah, we got one more quote. We go back to this one quickly. Andy. Do you rely on customers to say what companies should do or target, or is it something intelligent around what they offer?
So a lot of time we're seeing sophisticated customers that know exactly what they want, and we just give them the tool to achieve it. Everything works via an API, so you can hit the API and you can construct any type of data sets that you want to have in your choice. And we do have some pre-made pipelines for customers from specific verticals. So it always starts as a solution architect ask the customer what you want to achieve with the data. So either going to be a better pricing, either going to be a better inventory management or supply chain management, or a lot of ECG customers want to enforce some regulation on their side. Depends on what you want to achieve with the data. And then the data architect just asking you what type of first-party data set you are working with, what data that you have right now, how you're solving your problems, what part of the external data are going to play out. And then we offering you, okay, we got the specific pipelines that are going to meet your needs. Maybe we should do some post-processing of the pipeline to help the customers with the pre-processing. Sometimes the small changes that we can normalize on our side on the source, at the source itself, whenever we're collecting the data, can reduce a lot of noise in the downstream application. We're seeing ourselves as an upstream application and an upstream data pipeline, so we're helping the downstream and unlocking them. So for us, it's really important to ask our customers, like, which downstream data application you want to work. Is it going to be like embedded BI, or you're going to create like agents to run your data pipelines with LLM, with RAG? It's a lot of like new things that we're seeing, customer using NIMBLE to build their own RAG application. So whenever you got that, we can help you to have like intelligent way to offer the data pipelines that you need.
So you help define the art of the possible. So like saying, look, this what can be achieved if you combine these things. I think it's really good. You actually have that solution architect sort of helping guide them, because I think asking the right questions in the right way, it probably not only helps with the sale of your product, but it actually really just helps with satisfying some real tangible business use cases, or even ones that he didn't think they could be solved as well. And that's always good to build that trust and buy-in from the business if you can do something like that. So I think we're pretty much approaching time. I've got to go and grab a flight. I'm off to go to see a customer for a couple of days in Cincinnati. So that's my afternoon. Yeah. So I'm back late. Sorry?
You back in London or still in New York?
No, I'm in New York at the moment. I go to Cincinnati for a couple of days, and then back here until I head to Skid to Switzerland at the end of the month. If you can make it, it'd be great to see you there, Uriel. I think you're there.
I'll practice my snowboarding with you.
Okay, it'll be good. All right, yes.
So those who haven't registered, so ski by the end of the month, ski with Chris. It's like a new branding. It's not data ski, it's ski with Chris. He's the best skier in the world and a very fun drinker, I can say firsthand. For those who haven't have it already, please take your gears, grab some beers, prepare your body for amazing skiing data and alcohol.
Thank you very much. Sorry?
That's the way you market this.
You've done it better. You've marketed it better than I have anyway. So that was a great job. I'm sure we'll catch up in New York for a follow-up discussion and maybe a couple of drinks at the same time as well. But for anyone who wants to find you or reach you, do you want to let everyone know where they can catch up with you?
LinkedIn works fairly easy. All there.
Brilliant, cool. Brilliant. Well, thank you again for agreeing to go on the show. I think what you're doing is pretty cool, pretty nimble as well. So, I've got one. Yeah, and I've got one more thing to let the audience know. I've got prepared for once. And normally I keep forgetting to get this, but so next week already got the next show scheduled. Got the value of a data evangelist. So I got the Kent Graziano, the data warrior. For those who don't know him, he's a legend in this industry.
Cool topic. Wow, that's really cool topic.
we try it.
An amazing picture.
Yes, that's probably what
with my picture right now.
If I had hair, that's what I look like, maybe a little bit.
Look at my hair, man.
All right. Well, thank you everyone in the audience, and we could catch up you all again soon.
Bye bye.
I'll end Cheers. Bye.